Welcome to the Atlanta Falcons versus Minnesota Vikings Week 2 prediction and analysis. Atlanta Falcons pandemic. The Week 1 performances of both the Atlanta Falcons as well as the Minnesota Vikings significantly influenced their strategic blueprints and their game plans for this coming week. Both came off of losses. Both have uh, running games that did not particularly do very well. Both have injuries and situations that happened with their offensive line. So both of those losses are going to have significant impacts on this week too. What's going on, my Falcon family, my Dirty Bird Nation? You know what it is. Another exciting episode of Atlanta Falcons Pandemic, the show built for the fans, by the fans, where the heartbeat of the Dirty Bird is faithful, where my fellow pandemics never waver and the passion never dies. I'm your Falconologist, Manuel McFarland, the true and trusted voice for diehard Falcon fans who live and breathe this team. But like I said, guys, this is week 2. We're going to peer into a couple of aspects of what happened last week, but we're looking ahead. We're not going to dwell on that, but we're going to see what it's going to take for Atlanta to rebound from a loss, a 23-20 season opening loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which gives an opportunity for Atlanta to return back to the winning edge and keep from starting with this damaging 0-2. I was in another podcast, and the one reason why I'm not particularly upset, that we lost, right? Like I said, I can take a loss, but this game, or last week's game rather, against Tampa Bay, and the reason it's hard for me to get over it because it could have a significant impact going into the playoffs, right? If it comes down to it, that game is going to mean a lot more than just being the game, the season opener. It could be, whether it be for the division or whether it be for conference play. Like I said, it can have a significant impact. So that's the reason why I am so harping on the fact that we lost this game. Didn't want to lose it, but we did. So we're going to move on from that. But we have to address the anemic run game, right? Atlanta's most glaring inefficiency in week 1 was the ground attack, which was limited to only 69 yards. And that's through both receivers, both running backs on 28 carries, averaging just 2.5 yards per rush. This performance was identified as a critical vulnerability, right? So, and I don't look for that to happen this week. I look for the Falcons uh, to remedy that, so to speak, right, and give a heavy dose to him. I'm not looking for Nathan Carter to make an appearance, but if he does, it'll be a plus. But I'm looking for uh, Zach Robinson to find a way to utilize his run game and get it back on stage where it's supposed to be. The offensive staff, they have to be strategically uh, diversifying their game, the run game, because right now we're looking predictable. You know what I mean? Incorporating more stats from under center, varying plays, play designs, make them look, like I said, less than predictable. Correcting this issue is paramount. I mean, we have to correct that. We have to get Bijan getting it started early. We have to get Tyler Algier in early, and use them in the correct situations, right? Now Robinson, he likes those explosive runs. So and and he's capable of that. But like I said, we have to use them in a situation like they're supposed to. Protecting Michael Penix's blind side. He was forced to throw 42 times last week, which is crazy. A stark deviation from the Falcons' intended offensive plan because are supposed to be a run first team, right? Partly due to the inability uh, uh, of the inability to establish a run. Penix had to throw. But what it all boils down to is offensive coordinator Zach Robinson. He must scheme to protect Michael Penix's blind side. This involves helping new starting right tackle Elijah Wilkinson. Well, he's not new. He's been with the program before, but his potentially game-wrecking matchup with Vikings outside linebacker Jonathan Grenard. The Falcons' offensive success is directly tied to their ability to provide help for Wilkinson and to the scheme ability to mitigate the pressure Grenard is sure to bring. Now, that's one thing we know what we're facing. Jonathan Grenard is a handful for any offensive tackle, not just Elijah Wilkinson. So he has to have help. We're going to have to stick and not put Kyle Pitts over there. That's not helping Elijah Wilkinson. We need a blocking tight end. We need Charlie Warner. We need Teagan. They have to be a bigger part of this offense than they were against Tampa Bay. Whether it's for blocking or going out for a short pass to help bail out Penny in case something happens. But we have to get Elijah Wilkinson some help out there on Grenard if Grenard lines up against them. I'm sure they will. Just like us, the Vikings have realized that we are hurting on offensive line. They realize we do have a backup in there, not even a backup, but a backup to the backup. So they're going to try to take advantage of that. Now, the Falcons, we must capitalize on a defensive promise under new defensive coordinator Jeff Albrecht. The defense showed immense promise in week 1, restricting the Buccaneers to just 260 yards and generating a 40.5 pressure rate. The rookie defenders like Billy Bowman Jr. and Xavier Watts, they made significant impacts. Now, the game plan is to have Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr. make their presence felt against a suspect Vikings protection. The Falcons defense must replicate what they did in week 1. That same success must be generated and get that consistent pressure on JJ McCarthy. Don't have JJ sitting back there thinking he has all day to throw. We got to get his feet moving. He's a brand new quarterback, and just like last week, he showed that under pressure he can make some bad decisions. The Falcons should scheme more design blitzes to confuse the young guy. Like I say, he's a young quarterback, especially given the Vikings' weakened offensive line. They're probably in worse shape than we are, right? We have one hurt player. They got several. So, but generating that consistent pressure on JJ McCarthy would be the paramount to forcing mistakes and creating turnovers. And hopefully we have the same turnout from Billy Bowman Jr. and Xavier Watts contributing heavily to the defense. Another thing that Atlanta Falcons will have to do is finishing drives, right? And also on top of that, avoiding mistakes. Younghoe Koo's missed 44-yard field goal was the big difference maker in week 1, but the team must improve red zone efficiency. And most importantly, avoid self-inflicted errors. And we have to help Parker Romo. I think he's going to be the appointed field goal kicker for this game. He's been recently elevated from the practice squad. And, we have to get him comfortable, when it comes time to kick those field goals. So limit the mistakes, none of these personal fouls, holding penalties, useless holding penalties that don't amount to anything. But following that missed field goal, guys, Morris made it clear in the press conference that the Falcons will be exploring their options at kicker. He stated that the team will be hosting a workout that would include both veterans and up and comers, and mentioned that practice squad kicker Lenny Craig is also a consideration. And I, for one, was wondering why Lenny Craig wasn't initially brought in. But another content creator on another podcast, he alluded that Lenny Craig is almost, I can say he is automatic when he's lined up straight up on the field post, right? On the goal post, right? But when he had to kick from the hashes, is where he's suspect. From what I thought, that he didn't miss that many from minicamp, from tryouts to minicamp. He didn't miss a whole lot. But if he can't kick it from the hashes, which a lot of these kicks are going to be kicked, then that could pose a problem as well too. So let's hope we got the kicking game addressed with Parker Romo, and hope that he can come in here and get the job done. But if we get the red zone scoring intact, we pretty much won't need Parker Romo, right? So I mean, except for point afters. But the Vikings, they building on comeback momentum. The Vikings are 27-24 victory over Chicago. It defines JJ McCarthy historic fourth quarter comeback, and it provides a significant momentum for them, right? It's a confidence boost for a young quarterback, a rookie quarterback. So we don't want him to build on that. While the comeback was impressive, it is also underscores the importance of consistent execution. The Vikings will face a disciplined and fundamentally sound and relentless physical play style of play from the Falcons' new defense, which will test the consistency. So if we get this pressure on McCarthy, that consistency that he saw going late into in the game against Chicago, we do not want to see that happen. We have to get that man to move and making bad decisions or ill-advised throws, and hopefully the defense will be able to eat on that. The Vikings offensive line is currently missing star tackle Christian Darrisaw. His replacement, Justin School, he struggled in week one. He allowed 3 sacks. Um, but the Falcons' defensive game plan is designed to exploit uh, this kind of offensive vulnerability. With their new defensive identity and its talented rookies, this means the Vikings will need to account for this weakness in their protection schemes for McCarthy. And I'm pretty sure they're going to probably use their tight end. He's a big playmaker. To go for short passes and get the ball out of McCarthy's hands, so he might make quicker decisions and get the ball out of the hands. So we have to account for that, and actually get after JJ McCarthy and don't give him that window. But despite McCarthy's heroics, the Vikings offense under head coach Kevin O'Connell is not built solely on the pass, as the running backs Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason, they combined for a solid ground attack in week one. The Falcons defense, on the other hand, must remain disciplined in their run defense and be fundamentally sound in their assignments to contain the run and McCarthy's mobility. Hopefully, Jalen Walker will be that guy and be more of an impact than he was against Tampa Bay. But this implies that the Vikings will likely continue to incorporate the run game to support their young quarterback. Now, that means that the Vikings could try to beat us at our own game. They have 2 dual threat quarterbacks. We have 2 dual threat quarterbacks. They're going to try to do what Tampa Bay did and because I'm pretty sure they watched that game. Tampa Bay ran two running backs down our throat, and they're going to try to do the same. And this in turn will help McCarthy get settled in uh, and probably cover up the fact that he makes bad decisions. But several individual player matchups are identified as having a significant impact on the ultimate outcome of the game between Atlanta Falcons and the Vikings. First and foremost, the Vikings outside linebacker Jonathan Grenard versus Falcons right tackle Elijah Wilkinson. This is probably the most critical one-on-one battle of the game and a potentially game-wrecking matchup. And this could be like, remember last season when Wyatt wreaked havoc on Atlanta against Pittsburgh? Against Pittsburgh. We don't want that. We don't want to revisit that. So Wilkerson, not saying that he can't do it, because he is a formidable guy. He can play the position. He's been there. It's not like he's a rookie, but he will be directly challenged by Jonathan Bernard, who was the 5th in the NFL with 12 sacks last season and recorded 7 quarterback pressures last week. So I was going to say Caleb McGarry. Elijah Wilson has to get dialed in and put up a great defensive front against Grenard. But the Falcons' offensive success is particularly providing time for quarterback Michael Penix on his blind side, and it will be directly tied to their ability to provide help for Wilkerson and mitigate the pressure Grenard is expected to bring, and he will bring the pressure. So we're going to have some help in there with Wilkerson. I'm pretty sure Atlanta will probably see how Wilkerson handles him straight up one-on-one, depending on what the play call is. But if trouble comes to calling, then I'm pretty sure hopefully that we'll make the adjustment and bring in a Charlie Warner or Teagan or even Felipe Frank, somebody that can help him block off Grenard if Grenard becomes a problem. But our rookie edge rushers, James Pierce Jr. and Jalen Walker versus the weakened offensive line, that matchup, the Falcons edge rushers, they have to get started and get started early and often. But it could be, one of these things that set the tempo for the whole game. If either one of those get off and do what they're expected to do. The Vikings offensive line is currently missing a star. Christian Darrisaw. And like I said, the backup, he struggled. He gave up 3 sacks last week, so that'll be a point of contact, point of attack for us. Especially if we put James Pierce Jr. at the edge and line up Jalen Walker right behind him at linebacker. That could be very detrimental for the Vikings and getting the pressure on JJ McCarthy. Um, but that pressure also has to be consistent, right? Because McCarthy is a mobile type quarterback. He's not no Lamar Jackson or no Vic, but he is a mobile quarterback. He can make plays with his legs, and hopefully we'll get him to second guessing himself with the passes and force him to make mistakes and creating turnovers. Now, our Falcons, our secondary, uh, Jesse Bates, Billy Bowman Jr., Xavier Watts. Uh, I mean, you talking about guys who showed out in week 1, right? So hopefully we can replicate that. And but we'll have a test with Justin Jefferson. And but he is just one receiver, but he is that type of receiver. He was ranked 9th last best player in the NFL in 2025. So he's that type of player that can make plays and make you regret not double teaming him. Don't ever play him one-on-one. Give him the help. Hopefully, AJ Terrell will be the guy that's on him and not Michael Hughes. If we put Michael Hughes on him, we're going to have to help him out over the top. And hopefully we can at least slow him down. Justin, not saying that he can't be stopped. Not saying that he can't be stopped, but he has to, we're going to have to help him out over the top with him. But guys, that's my take on this week. I have us coming out with the win with a huge defensive front. It shouldn't be. I'm not going to say it's going to be a scoring battle, a high scoring game, but it will be significant. I don't think it's going to come down to a field goal. I think we're going to probably get them by a couple of touchdowns. If the defense is able to get started, hopefully the offense will be able to figure out their problems. We have to get our tight ends involved in the game. Kyle Pitts proved last week that given the opportunity and the plays are centered around, he can do it. I mean, he has the hands, he has the speed. Last week he had a stiff arm last week that that I'm pretty sure impressed a couple of people. But I'm hoping that we get our tight end started and get started early, get Michael Penix back there throwing, and create a balanced attack, with the run game, with and the passing game. But guys, that's my take on this week 2 matchup against the Vikings. I hope you enjoyed it. Please, if you've enjoyed this breakdown, give me a like, hit that subscribe button, hit the share button, and also, as always, drop your comments. And as always, guys, until game time, please, let's all continue to rise up. Peace. All right, Pandemic family, that's a wrap for this episode. Thank you all so much for tuning in and sharing your passion for our Atlanta Falcons with us. Your energy and support are what make this community truly special. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a 2 thumbs up, leave a comment below with your thoughts, and of course, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our exciting content. And seriously, don't forget to hit that notification bell right next to that subscribe button so that you'll be the first to know when we drop new videos about our beloved Dirty Birds. And as always, continue to rise up, and we'll see you in the Super Bowl.